Welcome into Bluegrass Sports Nation for the next edition of the Kyle Moore Show. We are missing head coach Kyle Moore here tonight, and we wish him well. He can't be here with us, but we are happy to have Coach Justin Combs join us here on the show tonight. We want to thank him for coming over. We also want to thank our sponsors, of course, Variety Pizza for letting us host here again. The Kyle Moore Show. We're always live here in the back room, and they take good care of us. And our other sponsors, People's Bank of Jackson and Go Time. Thanks to them once again for helping us bring this live to you each and every week. Justin, we want to talk real quick. Just we'll jump right into the game that's upcoming tomorrow night. Of course, many of the fans know you as our defensive coordinator. I know you as all in all. Seems like you can do about it all on the field when we need you to at coaching. Um, let's jump in and talk about Leslie County. A little bit of preview of them. Let's talk about some things they can do. What are we going to expect from them tomorrow night when they show up here on the riverbank?
I expect a whole lot of Landry Collins and the Maggard kid.
Yep.
I expect a whole lot of that. They get in the eye, they run the football pretty well. Then they can spread you out and then they'll screen you out wide. So got to be ready for it all.
Collett's done a real good job this year at quarterback, and that you lead right into my next question. I mean, he's one of those kids that he's got good vision at the quarterback position. He's got some experience, and I tell you one thing that a lot of people didn't really think about last year, but they got a great offensive line to protect him with, and I think they could pose some problems for us. But as the defensive coordinator, without giving away any strategy and then talking about the game and what you're going to do every play,
Right.
but I mean, how are we going to contain him, and who do you feel has to have a big game for us?
Well, the goal for me is to get him moving. He can't sit back there all day and have time to throw the football. But at the same time, they run that quarterback draw real well
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So if you send pressure, you kind of open up the middle there a little bit. So I mean, really coverage wise, I expect Wes Abner to have a really good night. I expect our inside linebackers to have a good week this week. We didn't have a very good week last week. Didn't get a whole lot of tackles out of our inside guys. But I expect him to have a really good week this week. We've kind of sharpened some things up, went over some things, and I expect him to have a good week.
The Eagles, pose a lot of threats coming in here. They a big win over Danville. Danville probably one of the lowest riding records. I guess you would think of them as being at 0-7. I don't think a lot of people expected that.
Right.
But Leslie County played them really well. I actually watched the game, and I was really impressed with how they handled Danville and some of the things they did offensively. So, they do pose a threat. They had the big win over Danville. They've pulled off some other upsets in some other books this year. So, offensively, they do pose some threats, and we'll have our hands full.
I do.
Folks, we're going to take our first commercial break of the night. We'll be right back here in just a minute after this commercial on Bluegrass Sports Nation.
People's Bank is proud to continue to invest in the Bluegrass State. Our team has years of experience right here in Eastern Kentucky. By partnering with People's Bank, we provide solutions, not just products. Our vision is to be the best community bank in America, and we would love a chance to earn your business. People's Bank, working together, building success.
I'm going to snap the ball.
You just want to snap?
We back on? All right, we're back live here on Bluegrass Sports Nation. I tell them all the time when we're doing a live game that probably some of the best commentary goes on during the commercial break. So
Oh, I
these folks,
believe it.
when we come back live and we're joking and cutting up, they know. So moving on from Leslie County, we know they're coming in here tomorrow night. We expect a lot from them. It puts. How do you deal with it as a defensive coordinator? The pressure that different teams and some things that they may do differently, and tell us what you like about coaching defense.
I've always been a defensive person. I've never been much of an offensive guy, but defensively, things change from week to week. You always have to kind of exploit a weakness. You have to find it, and it takes a whole lot of film.
Hmm.
I don't know how many hours of film I watch. It's going to be, 5, 6, 7 hours. But my wife gets mad at me sometimes.
Well, that was actually something else I was going to ask you about. If if you had an average of film that you watched every week
Yeah.
on the upcoming team and last week too. I mean, I know you're watching both films
Oh yeah.
and evaluating everything, and
Yeah.
I would say I figured it was probably 10, 12 hours.
Oh yeah. This week, I got right in, I guess 7.5 hours. But last week was kind of a shorter film. Somerset ran it all over us. But like I said, from week to week, it just varies, and I really like the challenge defensively because you know it's an offensive world now.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really is. It's you got a lot of RPO stuff. You
yep,
have line pulling, mouse trapping you, running the ball the opposite way. I mean, you got a whole lot of different things going on now that they run counter and they'll pass it the other way. So your linebackers are reading counter, ball's going the other direction. So, I mean, it's really an offensive world, but I really like the challenge of defense, and that's what I've always been pretty decent at.
Talk a little bit about your career at Breathitt County. A lot of people, some fans may not remember and some may not know, but talk a little bit about your career at Breathitt when you were a Bobcat.
Played from 2001, 2004. I was on the state championship team with Justin Haddix. I had to snap that field goal. Brandon worked with us all the time. I mean, he was down there every day. I bet I snapped 10,000 snaps that year. But I snapped extra points and punts and things like that for our 2002 team. Brandon was a big part of that. For us, I mean, there was no nerves.
Yeah,
I just walked up there. I just snapped it, busters. I mean, it's just like just a natural thing.
yeah,
That was the thing over the years when I played. We had alumni came in, they helped out, and we had a really great coaching staff. And I mean, it seems like every year we had a really good group of seniors,
yeah.
a really good group of leaders, and that's what it takes to win state
It
championships.
it makes a difference. You talk about numbers and leadership and the things that it takes to win championships, and that was something that I thought of earlier too. With you being the defensive coordinator, you've been the head coach at different places, and you've done a number of things. And there's probably not a lot offensively that you haven't looked at, tried,
No,
or
I
now
haven't
as
seen it
defensive
all.
or as defensive coordinator not tried to stop. So let's talk a little bit about baseball. Let's flip the quarter over on the other side,
Right.
and let's talk about the head coach of the baseball team, Justin Combs.
Uh,
Tell us a little bit about what got you into baseball and what you like about it.
growing up, baseball was actually my favorite sport. It really was, and that's probably my actual sport that I was better at.
Yeah,
I just gained a love for baseball, and my dad, I don't know how many hours he put into me in baseball, but it's worked out. I got to play a little bit at the next level, and
well, I think you did a great job with the kids this past season. I know they reacted to you and really made things happen. And I think it was because of great coaching and great leadership. And of course, you had a great number of kids that have played baseball for a number of years. That made it a little
oh
bit
yeah,
easier. So
it makes it easy when you have kids that know the game. The biggest thing just discipline. If you have guys that needed to just discipline
yeah,
themselves and
yeah,
kind of running into that football right now too. Defensively,
yeah.
we have third and a cab ride, and then somebody wants to have a pass interference or a personal foul, or so we have to just clean that up. That's for sure.
Well, that's hard to deal with. I know mentally that gets testing on a
It
coach.
does.
That's ask Coach Stoops.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, too.
I was joking with you with Coach Combs' son, Jace, over on the SES field a minute ago that this was going to be the Justin and Rob show. But, folks, when we come back from this commercial break, you'll see why Justin and myself are here. We'll turn it over to Evan Miller, their senior spotlight, and we'll just let him take the rest of the show. But first, we'll be back after this commercial here on Bluegrass Sports Nation.
Go Time is a locally owned and operated convenience store that has all your wants and needs in one stop. We have everything from quick snacks and cool drinks, a full-service deli, fresh coffee bar, soft-serve ice cream, and milkshakes. Also, make sure to check out our Little Caesars pizzas. Go Time, where the customer always comes first. Refuel your tank, refill your cup, and refresh your taste buds all in one stop at Go Time.
All right, folks, we are back here on Bluegrass Sports Nation. I've got defensive coordinator, assistant coach Justin Combs, and we've been talking a lot about football, a little bit about baseball. This point in our program, we like to take a little bit of time and talk to some seniors that are leaders on this Breathitt football team. And tonight we are joined by the one and only Evan Miller. Evan, welcome to the show. Glad you were here. I've been saving you for one of the last ones for a reason, and I thought tonight would be a good night to have you on the show. And just welcome in. We're going to talk to you and find out a little bit about you, maybe some things that I don't know about you. I don't know. We'll see how many questions we get time to ask. First off, tell us how many years you've played, and of course, tell us your mom and dad and a little bit about your family.
Well, of course, everyone knows my dad, Brendan Miller, county attorney. Hi, Dad. And my mom's Elizabeth Miller. Including middle school, I've been a Bobcat for 7 years now. And what else did you want to know?
You got anybody else in the family?
Oh, there's Carson. But who cares about him? I'm the important brother. And you know that.
Talk about the little brother, does he, Rob?
No, we don't. Let's say hello to C if he's watching at home. I was, I guess, privileged enough to have you and Carson both on the Lumberjacks, and you guys were always integral parts, and that's kind of a place where you got your start on the offensive line. Both you guys playing in different roles. Talk to us a little bit about the things that you like about football, maybe some of the aspects of football that you like the most.
Well, what I'd say I love the most about football is just the ability to make the friends that I have.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't have as many friends as I think I'd have if I didn't have football.
It's funny that you say that, because I've heard that a lot this week with our parents. You know, sixth grade night being the other night at over at Breathitt for their Lumberjacks, and a lot of the parents and a lot of the people that I talk to have said the same thing. You know, so from the top to the bottom, it's safe to say that the bonds and the friendships and the brotherhoods that you build are just unbeatable when it comes to football, I think.
That's what we always remember the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's some of your pastimes besides football? What do you like to do?
Oh, well, I consider myself a very somewhat successful fantasy football team manager.
He is pretty.
Currently 2-3. A little iffy. I do like to hang out with my friends too. I do have some. I believe it or not, I do have friends outside of football.
Yeah.
Shocking, I know.
What I want to do is attend this fantasy draft that I have every year.
Oh.
That's what I want to do.
I think it would be interesting for us just to go sit in on the game.
Watch,
yeah, and just watch these guys. They make it real interesting. I hear about it. I hear about it on the way to school almost every morning, especially if it's Monday night, Sunday night, or Thursday night. So, tell us a little bit about your future plans. You know, I know we've seen some posts on Bluegrass Sports Nation and some other things, and we know some people have been knocking at the door. So, tell us a little bit about college and some things in the future that you're thinking about.
Well, I like to have my options. Governor Scholar made a lot of options for me, and
Right.
all these offers are giving me tons more options. It's just going to depend on what I want to do.
Yep.
And it's a lot to think about too, because college is a very big phase of your life.
It sure is, and I think everybody can tell by listening to you that you're very intelligent. There's not a lot that gets by Evan. I tell you what, he's been a joy for all the years that I got to coach him and be with him, and I'll just knowing him and being around him. I think there was a couple times on the field I had to tell him to quit calling me cuz before we move on.
Nothing I can think of.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I know I look for big things in your college career and going forward, and it's just a pleasure to know you and a pleasure to be around you and have you in the conversation. Folks, we're going to take another commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about Leslie County, and we'll wrap things up with some of the things going on here in the community sports-wise. We'll be right back on Bluegrass Sports Nation.
Variety Pizza, located at 1189 Main Street in Jackson, has been family-owned and operated for over 45 years, serving the community with fresh, homemade, and handcrafted pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. Carry out or stay and enjoy the newly renovated dining areas with private party spaces available. Stop by and see Lee and Al or call 666-5454 for Variety Pizza.
All right, folks, we are back live from Variety Pizza here in Jackson, Kentucky, the Kyle Moore Show. Once again, Kyle unable to be with us tonight, and we welcome to the show Justin Combs. We've had a great night talking with Coach Combs, and also our senior spotlight, Evan Miller. Evan, thanks again for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having both you guys here. We'll continue to talk a little bit as we wrap things up. Just talk a little bit more about Leslie County. I know it's always been a big rivalry for Breathitt County, even if in basketball and football both, and it's always something that we look forward to when these two get together. So, they've got some very talented athletes on this team, Justin, and I think there's if you watch any of the film or if you watch any of the games, they've been pretty successful and they can move things around. So,
Defensively, you got Bryce Pugh.
Yep.
That kid can play.
Yeah.
He's a linebacker. He's all over the field.
Yeah,
So
the Davidson kid, probably one of the bigger
He is.
linemen in
He
our
is.
region, probably.
he is. They have some pretty good guys there
Yeah.
on defense.
We'll talk a little bit about the things going on here in the community. Of course, coming up this week, we've got next Thursday, we've got a middle school playoff game. Also coming up Saturday, the Lumberjacks travel to Betsy Lane to kick off their playoff schedule in the sixth grade playoffs, Kentucky Middle School Football Association. Bluegrass Sports Nation will be covering the middle school game. Bluegrass Sports Nation has been covering all the volleyball. If you need information, be sure and tune in to Bluegrass Sports Nation. We'll try to get it coming to you and make announcements and have posts on there for what's coming up. Folks, that's going to do it for us here tonight on the Kyle Moore Show live from Variety Pizza. Thanks, Coach Combs, for being here with us, and Evan, thanks for being here tonight. It's been a pleasure having both you guys on the show, and that'll do it tonight. And we'll see you back next week on